Hi, I'm Sean from Dicker Data.
And I'm Paul from HP.
Hey Paul, I'm hearing a lot of noise in the market at the moment around Android 10 end of certification. What is it and what does it mean?
It's a great question, Sean. But before I can answer that for you, I need to give you some context around which devices are impacted and why they're impacted. So back in 2020, Poly released the first generation of our Android appliances.
So those are the X30, the X50, X70, G7500 and the TC10 controller, or the TC8 controller.
TC8 controller.
TC8 controller.
So these devices were designed, developed with the componentry that was available for us at that time, and with the roadmaps that we had envisaged. So they were released in 2020, now we're in 2025. It's 5 years in play, and they've now hit their processing limitation of what modern Android operating systems they can run, and that's the Android 10.
And that's because after the last 5 years, lots of feedback from the market, lots of new features from platforms like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and Google. There are so many more features coming that require more processing, more endpoint horsepower, and just genuinely better products, better components in terms of cameras, larger microphone arrays, and better speakers that are louder and more crisp in the spaces.
Correct, Sean. So we take a lot of feedback from our partner community and our customers. And with that information, with that feedback, we've designed and developed our second generation devices.
So they're the X32, the X52, X72, G62, and the TC10 touch controller. So it's
correct.
Same name, just generation 2. So
correct.
Adding a 2 to the end, which makes it nice and easy. And that's a full portfolio for generation 2 now.
That's correct. And with these devices, as you touched on earlier, newer microphones, newer speakers, newer cameras, and more processing capability to be able to deliver on more engaging experiences in that room space.
Mm.
So circling back to your question, your Android 10 certification. So this is a program that our partners like Microsoft with their Teams Room, Zoom with their Zoom Rooms, and Google with their Google Meet, they have in market for hardware vendors like ourselves and many others out there to make sure that the devices meet a minimum requirement of processing capability, audio, video capability, to be able to deliver on the user expectations of experiences in those rooms.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
So because of this, as these new experiences are becoming more demanding with AI and more integrated features of sharing content, audio, video, high definition, multiple screens, more horsepower is required. So to be able to deliver on these features, there's going to be an end of certification on Android 10 and a migration to newer versions of Android, which our second generation devices are in the process of being certified for.
And they will be able to run that for some period of time as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that means that essentially today, all of the Android 10 devices out there, whether they're Poly or any other vendors, because it's not just HP Poly that's being affected, it's any other vendor out there that doesn't meet that minimum of Android 13 now it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So that means that at some point in the future, when that end of certification date is happening, I believe that's in late 2026.
Yeah, different providers have different dates. Highly recommend you view the websites and the articles from your providers, as these dates can change. But currently they're targeted for roughly around September, or let's say Q4 calendar year 26.
So we're talking about Microsoft, Zoom, Google, etc.
Correct.
All have their different dates, but they're all roughly intersecting at September 2026.
Now, that certification support, what I would like to touch on a little bit around HP support. We do plan to support our first generation devices to at least up to 2030.
So that's a full, pretty much 10 years of support from the first devices to the last device.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's the HP Poly hardware and the HP Poly firmware, the operating system that sits below the Microsoft Teams, the Zoom Room, and the Google Apps.
Correct.
Yeah. So basically the hardware will be supported, but the applications themselves, the manufacturers of those being Microsoft, Teams, and Zoom, have made the decision that there are new requirements to run higher spec chipsets and things to support new features in the next generation.
Correct. So during the end of certification period, the devices will still work post that date. However, they won't receive any new features or revisions to that application, the Teams app, Zoom app, or the Google Meet app. So they'll work as the way they do at that time, but won't progress through with any new features delivered by us as HP in our new second generation OS, as well as our partners, Microsoft Teams, and their features that they release in their ecosystem.
Yeah. So if we have a mixed fleet, so say we have some Gen 1 devices, some Gen 2 devices, you're saying pretty much from that end of certification point, there's going to be a difference in feature parity and ultimately end user experience. So some devices will be able to support multiple cameras or new AI/Copilot features that are coming out, and the other devices will be left behind. And I suppose ultimately what it will get to is the devices probably won't even be able to communicate with each other because they might be so far removed from each other.
Yeah.
I suppose similar to Windows 10 and Windows 11. Yes, Windows 10 is still functional to a point, like it's only just happening now. But I guess like with older versions, Windows 8, Windows Vista, Windows XP, they got to a certain point where they just weren't functional anymore.
Correct. And also, we have an example today of limitations of where processing capability for our first generation devices have been hit. And our new microphones that we have here on the table, they are only compatible with our second generation devices. They do connect over IP. And this is a new way of us being able to approach the collaboration space of being able to deploy peripherals utilizing standardized CAT cabling and IP networking.
It's awesome. So the other thing I'm hearing, Paul, is that customers are looking for some help to get from generation 1 to generation 2. So if they have any questions, are they able to reach out to you and myself?
Yeah, definitely. Or any HP rep that you have, just reach out to them and they'll put you in contact with one of the Poly specialists or Sean and any of the partners that we have out there. We do have a whole heap of promos that we're currently running to help with this transition. Sean, do you have any details?
Yeah, so we'll be kicking off our Trade Up program, which will essentially be helping any customer with any Gen 1 device moving from the Generation 1 to Generation 2. So we'll see discounts of up to 50% to help with that migration, because ultimately we want to have everyone running the latest features, secure platform, secure operating system, and devices that are fit for purpose and at a standard for meeting rooms in 2025 and onwards.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.
Well, I guess it'll be until next time, Paul. Hey.
Always great chatting to you.
Excellent. See ya.
Bye.